Hello everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening. How are you all?
Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Nice to see you on this bank holiday Monday.
Yeah, so it's a bank holiday and I hope you're relaxing, or if not, taking some time out to watch
Yeah,
what we're doing and what we're saying. Or
exactly.
if you're watching it as a recorded, welcome. We're glad that you turned up. And tonight we have a special guest who we've been talking this month about the finances, and we've been coming from it at a different angle to ensure that you have the information. Now, we interviewed this person who's here tonight, the director of HTD Consultants,
Consults Limited.
Consult
Yes, UK.
UK Limited, and her name is Norma Wright. And I would like to say to you all, she did a brilliant job of giving us the information and advice that we
Mm.
need to protect our estate. When I first heard the word estate planning, I thought, what was that? I was thinking of building an estate, building a building.
Yeah, soon enough, soon
Yeah.
enough.
But there comes a time when you have to realize
Exactly,
these are the tools that you need to use. So without
exactly.
further ado,
And you might remember her when you see her. You might say, she looks familiar to us. Yes, if you do remember her, Miss Norma was with us last year,
October.
October time, October, November.
Mhm.
Okay, so without further ado, you
Miss Norma Wright.
coming in, Norma, coming in.
Hi,
Welcome,
everybody.
Welcome,
welcome.
my
Hi.
darling. How are you?
Hi. I'm absolutely fine. Thank you very much for inviting me again. I'm
Lovely
very
to
pleased
see
to be
you.
here. And yeah, both of you don't seem to have weathered too bad since last October.
No,
So,
we survived. We
And
survived.
you,
Trust,
and you as
trust.
so
well, looking
And you,
gorgeous.
and you.
thank you.
One of the most polite people I've met is is
Yes.
is, is Norma. And every time I speak to her, I always say to her, "I love how you sound because
No, you just sound
it's
so
wonderful to have you.
calming
So
and
calm, and
full of
we
grace.
really do appreciate you coming back to speak to
Yeah.
us as a community. And
Thank
I
you.
want people to start by getting your notepads
Get your
and pens,
notepads and pens,
right?
guys.
Please
Get
do.
your notepads and pens.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay. So, Norma, we're
Yes.
going to restart again to say, who are you and
Okay.
what's the business that you're providing, the support you're providing?
Yes.
Okay. So, who am I? First of all, I have to give thanks to God because I'm a mother and I'm a grandmother of four, three boys, well, men, and a
Oh,
grandmother of four, two girls, two
lovely.
boys. I've spent my life in the legal field of over 35 years. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but yes, I
Don't look
am old
35, don't
enough. I'm old enough. And as a result of that, I've also entered politics at a local level as a district councillor and also as a parliamentary candidate. I'm not even going to tell you which party for because you guys are going to
I'm
kill me.
I'm not gonna ask.
Okay.
It's him.
I'm curious, man. I want to know.
We
I want
don't
to
we
know.
don't need to know. We don't need to know.
Okay. But listen, politics is politics.
Yeah.
Politics is a game of words. And in terms of that, my legal background has come into very good use. But in
Mm,
terms of that, my legal background has also seen our community hemorrhage money as a result of hard earned legacies being lost because wills haven't been drawn up or they haven't been drawn up properly, and people really don't know what to do. In terms of the fact when people inherit money, the first thing that I've noticed, and this is no disrespect, this is just
Mm,
what I've noticed in our community, is that we go and buy things instead of investing for the next generation and the generation after. And
mm,
this is what HTD Consults has been set up. We go around the country telling people how to protect their hard-earned legacy, not just writing a will, but there's so many other things that you can do to
yeah.
make sure that the legacy stays intact for the next generation. So instead of the next generation inheriting a beat out old BMW, they
Mm,
can inherit what is called a trust. And in terms of that, there are over 125 different trusts, which we are specialized in. We have learned, we have retrained, and this is what HTD does. Go
nice.
around to our community, especially to explain how to preserve their wealth and their legacy. HTD stands for honest, truthful dialogue.
Yeah.
And as nice as I am, Huw, upset me.
Don't worry about that. I know that.
That's it. Because when it comes to the business and
Yeah,
making
I'm a
sure that
straight talker.
information, that's
Yeah.
it. Talk it straight.
I'm a
and give
straight
the correct
talker. If you're doing
information.
something wrong, I will tell you. If I can help you, I will tell you. If it's gone too far and I can't help you, I will also tell you. But I can also tell you how it should have been done. Okay?
Right.
This
Okay.
is where we are. Yeah?
Okay.
Oh, of course. Yeah. No, that's wonderful.
Okay.
Okay. So in terms of what you do you actually, when you meet people, do you have like do you have a session, a counseling session, or
Yes.
how does that operate in terms of meeting with someone?
Okay, the way we operate is that we give everybody that we meet a 30-minute free consultation, no
Okay.
cost. Yes.
Mhm.
We either consult you via Zoom, we send you a Zoom appointment and we consult you on a face-to-face basis.
Okay.
I live in the country, Buckinghamshire. I have done for very many years. I love it here. My co-director lives in London. So therefore, she's easily can get to people in London, but far easier than I can.
Yeah.
So if you want a face-to-face consultation, now that the COVID restrictions are lifted, then you can have a face-to-face consultation, but that would most probably be Pauline rather than myself. And I cover, if necessary, the rest of the country in terms of face-to-face consultations. But because of the onset of Zoom and what we've learned during COVID, Zoom is a fantastic tool. I can be in Manchester 1 minute, 1.5 hour session. I can be sort of up north, another half-hour session. I can be down south in Swindon, Basingstoke. So preferably, Zoom consultation is free. The first 30 minutes, we go through your estate. We don't just write wills. We go through your estate, find out what you have, who you want to leave it to, and then we work out the best way for you in order to leave your estate intact. So that if anything happens to you, not if, because two things are sure, death and taxes. When something happens to you, your estate is taken care of in the way that you want it to be taken care of, i.e., if you want one of your grandchildren to go to university, you can stipulate that, put the money aside, ring fence it in a trust so that the money is only used for the grandchild to go to university. If the grandchild doesn't go to university, the trust still stands for one of the grandchildren to go to university, but they don't just have to go. You can say they can go to university, but they must graduate. They don't have to graduate cum laude. They must graduate. Just signing up is not enough. So therefore, you control what you want to happen with your money for generations within your family. Does that make sense?
It does. But there's, I had a conversation once and someone said that the money does not belong to you.
That's it.
When you pass away, the money is for the family per se. So it has no purpose for you as the person. You've died.
But hold on. Who were you talking to? The money is only for the family if you decreed it so in your will.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yes.
Right.
Yes, that is what
Otherwise,
I meant.
if you haven't left a will and the will is intact and it's been drawn up correctly, therefore, the government will actually tell you what to do with your hard-earned money and your hard-earned legacy. Yes? If you die intestate without a will, you want Boris Johnson and his cronies telling you that you can only give your wife so much, and other people must have this, that, and the other, and they take 40% inheritance tax from you. Huw, we are all intelligent people now. We all work hard. Yes. We all know it's not like the days in Jamaica where, somebody say, oh, I tell somebody say that this is for them, this is for them, this is for them. It doesn't work like that in the UK. Okay. If it's for them, write it down, put it down legally. And so in terms of probate, when everything's distributed, it's distributed according to the way you want it to be distributed. And the other thing is, just because you're married Don't think that the will is the only thing that you need. Okay? You also need an LPA, lasting power of attorney. Because if anything, God forbid, happens to you before you die, you think Lorraine can tell the doctors what to do for you? She can't. She needs a legal document to say you give her the authority and the power to make decisions on your behalf in terms of health and in terms of welfare. Okay, let me give you a case in point. One case, I had a client very early in the days when we set up, during the COVID period. A client called me up. She was distressed. Her partner of 20 years died in bed next to her. She called and said, what can be done? First thing we asked is, okay, who owns the property? Him. Did he have a will? No. Did he have children? Yes. Did you contribute to the property? Yes, because it's her partner, long term, 20 years. No will. Who do you think inherited the property and everything that was his?
Jesus.
His son.
The son. Wow.
His son, his child. His child was the next in line through the intestacy laws. That's what the government stipulates.
Okay.
Be
In
careful.
the intestacy laws.
Yeah, no will. Intestate. He died intestate.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, even through that, the government are getting their hands on his property, his estate.
Well,
Even though
the government decreed. I'm sure a partner of 20 years would want to have left something to his co-partner. She got nothing, not even his watch.
Wow.
So now I think, in a way, for me personally, I've now come to understand and realize that when, as we like to say, our cousins speak about it, you know, and you think it takes forever, you know, what on earth do they have to sort out? And it is those little intricate details that you need to really have put in place, isn't it?
Let me tell you why.
It must be even worse.
Let me tell you why. Most people think the estate is bricks and mortar. But the legal definition of an estate is anything that you own as at the date of your death is your estate. Your accounts, your clothes, Lorraine, your pots and pans, okay? You want any sweetheart to come in behind you and pick up your pots and pans and your
exactly
right.
Nobody picking them up.
So do you know what I'm saying? I say this in jest.
Yeah, of course.
But this is something that does need to be sorted out. Okay. You
know, here's a question. So how long does that process take? For instance, we came to you and said, right, we want to do our will, we want to look at everything related to our estate. How long will that process take?
The first process is 30 minutes. Yes.
Okay.
So that's the consultation. What do you have? Who do you want to leave it to? And why? Okay. Many different scenarios. In terms of why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, you two seem a nice, stable couple. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why, and I'm going to pick on you now, and I'm going to use you two as the example.
That's fine.
All right.
Pick on me,
yes. Okay. So Huw, you come to me and you say we want our wills. Okay.
Yeah.
But you've told me that Lorraine hasn't. So if Lorraine wants a will, and it should be husband and wife, I leave everything to you, you leave everything to me. That's a mirror will. Okay. But suppose for some reason, and listen, I'm not going into people's business.
You better not start that, you know. And you know, I know it's coming out. Don't bother with it.
Suppose for some reason, Huw, you have an outside child, and Lorraine says, I don't want any of my money or my inheritance going to the outside child. I cannot do a mirror will. I have to do a separate will for you and a separate one for Lorraine. Okay, because your estate is divided up. I also have to look at your property and see how that's owned. Joint tenants or tenants in common? Which split? Which ratio? There's so many things to go into. Okay. If Lorraine has a favorite necklace or a watch or something she wants to leave to her eldest grandchild to wear on her wedding day, I need I need those details. Yeah. I need, you know, if there's a favorite dress or a favorite color that you want to be buried in. If you're divorced, I have to take detailed instructions. Have you got a decree absolute? Is there anyone that's going to absolutely claim from your estate? If you think there is, we put it in the will. So and so has had enough during my lifetime. Therefore, if anything happens to me, I don't want him to claim or her to claim from my estate whatsoever.
Right.
Okay. Or if you've given children money during their lifetime, so and so has had 30 grand from me to buy a house. My other son didn't. So therefore, in the distribution, take into account the 30 grand that I paid to son A or son B. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is why, that is the time that's taken. Then that is really why it takes. So I suppose the way people look at wills is, well, you know, I've just signed the thing to say, yeah, I leave everything to whoever. Is not really.
You see, we don't get that, because, you know, when we see wills as a community, we see it as an
taboo
issue. And one of the worst things for us
taboo.
is we don't want to talk about our personal things. Yeah. But this is where we need to start making the change, to speak about what you have in order for us to move forward.
Okay, let me, a case in point. What you have ordinarily changes shape every 5 years. Okay. You do a will. The recommendation is every 5 years, review your will. You might not need to update it, but review it. Let me tell you why. Sometimes the executors that you want to enact your will, maybe they're not alive. Maybe they're not in the country. Maybe they're not compos mentos. I have a case at the moment where one of the executors, joint executors, not joint and several, but one of the executors has got dementia. So if she has dementia, how can she carry out the terms of the will? She can't. Plus that, she's not even living in the UK. So every communication has had to be international. That has taken so long to sort out, and it's still not finished. Okay.
So you should update every 5 years, or
review
every 5 years if you have a will. And also as well, we need to, I'm just recapping, we need to really look at and take the time to put in place the reasons why we want certain things going where, determine what we're going to do with various things, or what with the estate as such.
So would you say that it would be better to have the executor of your will to take care of your will as a solicitor rather than a family member?
What we do, we say people don't trust solicitors. It's inherent. It's inherent in our community. Let's get real. And solicitors are expensive.
Yeah.
So our personal recommendation, our company recommendation is appoint somebody in your family who you trust, but maybe doesn't have the legal experience, because going through the HMRC details and doing probate is enormous. And we say we appoint a professional executor alongside your family member to guide them through the process. Yes. So we
is that
say,
is that a particular person or a company? So that if that person who's supposed to be, you know, there for so, thank you. Yes. So you know,
you call HTD consultant.
That's what we do. Yeah. So
we guide you through the process. Yes, because the forms are a minefield. If I showed you,
solely for probate, isn't it? Is that solely for probate?
No. Well, okay. Probate is the act of carrying out the will. Yes. So you execute the will and carry out the probate. Okay. Probate can be contested, i.e. so-and-so says, oh, I should have got auntie's necklace and she promised me this, that, and the other, and it's not in the will. That's when it becomes difficult and expensive.
Right.
So that's why I say, please, if anything, sort out your estate, what you have, who you want to leave it to, and why. Okay. And those are the things that we go through. I mean, somebody's estate we're sorting out at the moment. It's taken them over a year. Let me tell you why. It's not that the estate is big in terms of estates. It's not like a Buckingham Palace big, Queen and Prince Philip big.
Yeah.
It's because the act of thinking about it and coming to terms with it is enormous.
It's arduous.
Yeah. So we have the patience. We say, okay, you can ring us up as many times as you like. We don't work 9 to 5. We work to serve the community. So if you're thinking about something, can you ring me at 12 o'clock at night? Usually I'm working. Okay. So call me, WhatsApp me. Norm, I'm thinking about this. I can't tell you what to do. I can advise you, but I can't tell you what to do. With the experience I have, I can say, this might be better, or have you thought of this, or have you thought of that? But the ultimate decision comes down to you.
It's with you. Yeah.
Okay. So coupled with that, in terms of the lasting power of attorney, there's 2 documents that I would thoroughly recommend. A will, which takes effect after your demise, and a lasting power of attorney, which takes effect during your lifetime. Those 2 documents I would recommend be coupled. And in your lasting power of attorney, I would suggest that you put your points and wishes. Okay. Sometimes people think that, oh, I've given somebody a lasting power of attorney over my health and welfare, and I've just done it online. But don't forget, some of us have special needs and special wishes, okay? Some of us don't want our hair cut. Some of us don't eat pork. Some of us don't do this. These sorts of things that you must think about when you're creating these legal documents that have power over your life.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think that's maybe, as a reflection for the moment. I can see why it's a very daunting thing. Number one, it's obviously daunting to think about your end of life. I know it sounds really, that's
it
something
sounds like
that you
a
don't
morbid
want
conversation, but it's
yeah.
it needs to be had.
Yeah, because the people that's left behind, it'll just make that
a lot easier,
a little bit easier, and that grief not so difficult to take. But for me, Norma, if I can ask you, obviously in regards to that, and I suppose we would come around to it, is if you have a business, if you have a successful business, existing business, and God forbid you pass away, what would you suggest, or what should business owners be thinking about having in place should anything take place?
Well, in terms of that, I always ask my clients whether or not they have a business, because business planning should also be included in the will. It's part of the estate planning process. Some people have a business and they think that their wife or their partner or somebody's going to take over. That wife or partner may not have any business acumen. So therefore, why would you want them to take over a business that they have no interest in and they have no acumen in? So therefore, the shares of the business is also part of your estate. So therefore, detail who you want the shares to go to. Yes. And when. Yeah, who you want to run the business. Supposing you want to pass the shares over to somebody who's under the age of 18. Who do you want to run the business in the meantime until your successor takes over? That's all part of estate planning. We look at everything you have, everything you own, every interest you have in the round. We look at everything. It's not just bricks and mortar.
Honestly, I do hope you've got your notepad and pen ready. It must be full now. I think we actually should start selling those, when we get your notepad and pen, because the guests that we do have on weekend, especially with the financial month that we're doing, this is really important. Even though you may think, well, I just start the business and we don't know what is going to happen.
You never know. The business just may grow exponentially, and then you find yourself in a situation that you didn't put that as part of your estate planning, and it needs to be sorted out, because heaven forbid that you are no longer there. You've left a intrinsic part of your estate planning out the window.
But the thing is, sorry, can I just interject there, please?
Of course.
It's not just a question of your demise. It's also a question of your inability.
Your faculty.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Some people have actually been trapped overseas and cannot sign documents or do anything in terms of their business because they've been overseas.
Oh.
You know, you cannot sign a mortgage variation form, you know, because it needs, sometimes if you've got a joint mortgage, it needs two. Okay, so,
Right.
you know, it's not just your demise. It's a sensible precaution for going forward.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, has that been an issue, you know, in terms of what you said there, you know, signing documents and so on? Obviously, you've got those electronic signature things. Are those legal? Are,
Are they
those things
legal
the
and tender,
legal
or
tender, so
do you
to
have to
speak?
be? Do you have to sign in front of a
Yeah,
solicitor?
yeah. You know, those.
Okay. You keep mentioning solicitor.
No, I
Okay.
just
No.
that's old school me. Yes, I do
Yeah.
apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Step up.
old school me. Consultant. So I do apologize.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why. DocuSign. I think it's called DocuSign, and I'm not using the trade
There's a few
name.
others out there as well.
DocuSign has now come into the fore, especially during this pandemic. Certain documents, and there is before, when you signed a will before this pandemic, you had to sign a will in the presence of two independent witnesses. Yes. But since the pandemic, a law came into force that says you have to see, you can sign, you can watch the testator sign through a window. Yes. And as long as you can see them signed through the window, and they pass the document to you as the witness, then that is usually accepted. Okay. There is something called sign over the internet. You know, I witness signatures with testators and witnesses over Zoom, because I guide them, making sure they're signing in the right place and all sorts of bits and pieces. You even though it's numbered, it's got their initials, you wouldn't believe the amount of people that sign in the wrong place, or you know, etc. So it could be nerves. It's nerves.
So it's still seen, even now that things are supposedly going back in the right direction, everything's opening up.
That hasn't been repealed yet, but there are certain criteria, certain circumstances. So you know, you have to abide by the criteria. So yeah.
Wow. So for businesses, you know, you need to look at all of that, really. How you know, who you're going to leave your business to if you cannot sign.
Let me do a case in point. Huw, you remember I had a dress shop and a shoe shop?
Yes.
Yeah? If anything happened to me, do you think my ex-husband could have run that?
No.
I would
have been taken, I suppose. Yes.
I would. Yeah. I would hope so, but no.
No. No, I mean, I'm sure, with respect, you don't know one dress size from another.
No, that's it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, with respect, that has to be catered for. Everything. When we talk about estate, we're looking at everything you own. Yeah. Okay. Even if you've got a secret little account somewhere, we're looking at everything. We are professionals. So therefore, you know, everything anybody says to us is confidential. Yes.
Okay. That is good to know, and obviously, that's taken as read, I suppose.
As a consultant, when do you think would be the best time to actually start this process? Because I'm thinking, you know, what age you know, we are at the age now where we need to look at that. But are we talking about as soon as you start whatever you're doing and you have something, you have an estate, you need to protect it? So there's not a time.
Let me tell you, tomorrow's promised to nobody. So my motto is now. Okay.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how old you are. I'm going to share something with you. A friend of mine, very dear friend, her son is quite ill at the moment. He's over the age of 18, just finished university, just started on his life, had a major psychotic breakdown.
Okay.
She cannot direct the doctors to do anything with her son because he's an adult, and the son hasn't given her authority to say anything or do anything on his behalf.
Yeah.
That's where a lasting power of attorney would have helped. Yes, because she could say, I am making this decision on behalf of my son because it's best. The son can't make decisions on his own because he's not, at the moment,
he's a
mentally capable. So
Yeah.
I would say to anybody now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got that. Now here we are on a personal note in a triangle, son, mother, and father. How do we then do that so that we can all protect each other? Do you understand?
Of course I understand. Talk to me.
Okay.
Book me for
all
a
right, because
consultation.
yeah,
Oh, I know. So
because
if
what I'm
it's
thinking
a
of,
triangle-
is if something happens to the both of us and we're incapacitated, right?
Well,
Okay.
it's not that. It could be anybody.
It doesn't matter, but right. But the point
Yeah.
is, can we have a lasting power of eternity for our son or whatever? What the process is?
Okay, you're the donor. So you are the ones that choose who you want to look after you and how you want to be looked after. Yes.
Okay.
So you're the
Right.
donor. So your son would be the attorney. Yes.
Okay.
But I would also suggest find somebody else as well, just in case your son is not available at the time that the question is raised. How do you want your parents to look after? Or maybe he doesn't want to be an attorney. He can't take it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult making decisions for your parents when they're ill and put that load on your son. So I would suggest you can have more than 4, but I would recommend 2 or 3 people as well.
Right.
Somebody,
Okay.
your son, and somebody of your age that knows your likes, your preferences as well. Yes,
Right.
be open, be honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
With
So with
your
anyone,
needs.
that's what you would say to if they would say yes, like
Somebody that
said,
you
they
trust.
cover
Yeah.
if each of their family members. That's what they should try to put in place.
Somebody that you totally trust. A lasting power of attorney is an extremely powerful document. So you're trusting somebody with your finances and you're trusting somebody with your health. You can also add to a lasting power of attorney an advance directive, which says, if I get to this stage in my illness, I do not want any more treatment. Okay, that's an advance directive. The advance directive is registered with your doctor, and it's also registered with the Office of the Public Guardian, and it's noted in your health and welfare lasting power of attorney. That's something that we would also recommend. And that comes out of the consultation that we've had with you.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay. So that is, you almost have to think way in advance, and that's where your what ifs come in, and that's the scenario that you have to put yourself into, I suppose, when speaking with you.
Yeah,
the what if this and the what if that happens.
But normally, advanced directives are for people that have an ongoing illness at the moment and they know it's degenerative. So therefore, they've already come to that point in their mind.
Yeah.
So we don't have to push. We don't have to, for what people call in our community tempting fate. We don't do that. We make sure you're very comfortable with the decisions you've made and the documents. We send you a draft document, discuss it, take as long as you can to make sure that it's right for you. Once you've told us that this draft is okay, we've made all the appropriate amendments, if any, then we get it engrossed, we send it to you for signature, we oversee the signature, make sure it's done, then we lodge the documents with the appropriate authority. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I'm just sitting here thinking of people that would be watching this tonight or would be watching this on the replay and thinking, well, I've got pension, I'm fine, I've already given work, who's going to be my beneficiary? I don't really need to worry about that because, I'm fine. Do you think people in that scenario would need to think again as to how they would secure that?
Yeah, definitely.
Even though you think I've done this at work and I've put a name down, that they should then obviously incorporate that in a consultation with you and say, how do I deal with that?
Yeah, definitely, because the pension is the part of the estate. Okay. You could have put somebody's name down, but you put somebody's name down, I'm going to use you two as the example.
Yeah.
You've put Huw down and Huw's put you down. Yes. God forbid something's happened to you together, within a few minutes of each other. That money goes into your pot. That goes into the estate. Everybody's got a nil rate band of £325,000. Anything over above that, you get taxed on 40%. So if your pension goes into your estate pot, where do you think it's going? Part of it's going to the government, but it needs to be protected, just like life assurance, all sorts of bits and pieces. That's why we say,
I just want to go back back a moment.
That again. That's important.
In terms of the pot, you spoke about 300
and 25,000.
25,000.
Right. Is that per person or both?
Per person.
Right on. Okay.
Right. So for me to clarify, all right. So if anything happens and you've got that pension, even though you may have put somebody's name down to get that, when you pass, it's still part of the
Depends. We would have to look at the trust document that the pension company enacted, because there are usual clauses, get out clauses. Pension companies don't want to give money.
So I've got
they don't want to give money. They're in the business of making money. So we would have to look at that trust document and say, okay, this, that, and the other, the person that's getting it, would they have to pay any capital gains tax, et cetera, We have to look at it in the whole round.
So from an ordinary working person who's got their pension, going through their pension at work and everything like that, you would obviously come into you would also bring that into the fore to say, right, we would need to look at the actual writing on the wall, so to speak.
The small print.
The small print.
Yeah.
And that's really important because as any lay person, like ourselves, you work or you do your pension and you think, okay, well, they've asked me who's going to be the beneficiary. I've put the name down, my next of, my partner, my husband or my wife or whatever. And then you leave it.
You move on.
Because you're thinking, well, that's covered now.
Yeah, next, you literally say next because you think it's covered. But
so you've kind of blown that out of the water a little bit to say that it would be advisable.
Have a look at it. Suppose you put your next down. You put your next down, and your next gets married again, and is still taking your pension plus his new partner or her new partner, etc. You would be happy with that instead of it going to the next generation?
There you go.
You with me?
That's a salient point. Yes, absolutely.
Miss Sweet Lips or Mr. Sweet Lips or whatever. Do you get me? Do you get me?
Yeah. I understand.
Okay. Listen.
I can see why it's a minefield in the sense that how we've really got to start thinking, everyone. It might sound really morbid, but the thing is, I suppose we would feel a lot better once we have looked at, had a conversation on, and get a better idea as to how things are going to be when we're not here.
So I'm gonna go left field a little bit. I'm gonna go left field because that's important. I know how we think. The question would be, how do you, after giving us that service, a consultancy, how do you get paid? Is it paid beforehand in advance? How does
once the process once the consultation
has been completed, do they pay here and now, or what's the situation?
Okay, good question. Okay, the 30-minute consultation is free. Yes. When do we decide what we're going to do in terms of your estate? If it's a will, we ask for 50% so that we can start drafting, and 50% when you have the final draft. Yes.
Okay.
So you engross it at the signing. After you've signed it and everything's hunky-dory and you're fine, then we ask for the other 50%.
Yeah.
As I said before, we're not in this to make money. We're in this to inform. Yes. If you want to come to us, fine. If you don't, I've done my job. I've told you what the position is. You can choose who you want to go with. Yes. The world is big enough, but with the experience that we have, I'm not going to say we're the best, I'd love to.
When you are,
But we are
Right.
experienced. We bring a wealth of experience to this, and we're trying to make what our community has seen as a very morbid subject and something that they don't want to talk about into
Yeah.
something that is, we hope that we're approachable enough to be able to talk about it. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want the incident where one of my cousins died during COVID.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's 5 baby mothers, not wives, baby mothers, and 18 children.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
Okay. Right.
No will.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Nine
So
night was in
hold
nine
on.
night was
Now you know
interesting.
the importance,
Interesting nine night,
everybody.
yes.
Now you see the importance of having, you know what I mean, getting your affairs in order. All
absolutely.
right. But you know what? That is really great advice and information and knowledge that you shared, Norma.
But
Yeah.
I want to ask another question.
Okay, go ahead.
Norma, trust. What does that represent?
Oh, yeah,
How do
yes.
people get to do a trust? What does it represent?
Okay.
How can it impact on you?
Okay. There is, as I said at the beginning of the interview, there's over 125 different trusts that we've studied, we've learned, and that we can apply. Let
Okay.
me give you a simple trust. It's called a protective property will trust. Okay. So therefore, I'm going to use me as an example. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I marry a fantastic guy. It's not going to happen, but never mind. I marry a fantastic guy, right? And I've walked into his £1 million estate in Bishop's Avenue in St. John's Wood, you know, and me and him get on great, but his name is on the title. Me and his kids get on great, but his name is on the title. He pops his clogs and leaves me and the kids. The natural inheritance to his estate is the kids. But he also wants me to live there for the rest of my lifetime.
Yeah.
And then on my demise, the property goes to the kids.
Right.
That is a protective will property trust.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
All
he's
right.
protected my right to live there from beyond wherever he's gone.
But yeah.
So he's protected me to live there, and then the property goes to the children. But there are so many other parameters to look at before then.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's one of the simple ones.
Okay. All
Wow.
right.
Wow.
So again, that would be something to discuss as to what the varying opportunities or the different ones.
But he could also put a clause in it and says, look, if Norma gets married again, she's out. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's
place,
which might happen.
Yeah.
So you can still put clauses in place to protect all of what you have.
So basically, yes. Oh wow. I get that.
So that's why I say that the consultation is important. Everybody's circumstances is different.
But do you actually think that you can get, because just by what you said today, do you actually think 30 minutes you can get someone's kind of details down to understand where you need to put a package together to support that person in terms of consultation?
Just get an idea.
Huw, I've been a lawyer for over 35 years. I'm a politician, ex-politician. What do you think? What do you think?
I'm just asking the question.
And let me add another caveat. I'm a woman.
Okay, so that's done.
On that, you know what? You've shared so much information, and I'm sure it will blow people's minds. Or better still, wake us all up to understanding that, you know, we need to just start looking at these things and start putting some things in place. But I want to know a little bit more about you, Norma, because people want to sit and say, well, you know, she says that she's really good and stuff, but I want people to know about you, right? So they get a feel of you, because you know what we're like. You know, if we like somebody, it's like, okay, then, well, you know, I can ring her. So, you know, you have the myriad of jobs. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and the things that you have done.
The things that I've done.
We can start with why you go into politics.
Why?
Why
gosh, it's a long story. Okay. I'm a girl from Kingsbury, Northwest London. Yeah.
Right.
My sister still lives in Harlesden. She's a Harlesden girl. If anyone knows Pauline from Harlesden, she's my sister. Okay. There's
So
never
yes,
a
Pauline.
9-night or a funeral that my sister doesn't attend in Harlesden. She's my
Okay.
sister. Okay. So I'm a North London girl. Moved out to Buckinghamshire in the late 70s. Yeah, so I've been out here since, bought our first house in, I think it was 1979 in Buckinghamshire
Right.
here. Had 3 children, I'm going to say it because it's happened, 3 miscarriages, then 3 children.
Yeah.
My children, my eldest son was the first guy in the area to go to public school, that particular public school.
Yeah.
So therefore, we've worked hard. Worked hard, played hard,
Mhm.
lived church. My faith is Seventh-day Adventist, even though I am not a regular churchgoer. My church was
But you do what
Kingsbury,
you do.
Northwest London, Kingsbury, Kingsbury Church. After getting divorced, you know what Adventist church is like with divorcees. Anyway, here I am. That's it. One
So
of
how
my
did you get
sons,
into your
hold on.
lawyering?
One of my
Oh,
sons,
okay, you're leading
Yeah,
me.
yeah, don't interrupt her.
I'm
Go on,
rushing
Phil.
now.
one of my sons got into a major accident when he was just about 18. And in the little village where we lived, I had a dress shop, a shoe shop, selling Struck shoes. I don't know if anyone knows Struck shoes, but they were
those?
beautiful. Anyway,
Mm.
just a little below Jimmy Choo's, and just a
right.
little below La Bouton. But anyway, so one of my sons was in a major accident when he was just coming up to 18. He had a fantastic brain. He wanted to be a computer programmer, and he was heading that way. The driver of the car was a fatal accident. My son was in a major, had brain injury, etc. And it took us 4 years to get him back to where he is now. He's now, thank God, all praises to God, the church, or anything. Yeah. He's now recovered, running his own businesses. He's blessed us with 2 grandchildren, 2 granddaughters. After having 3
That's
boys,
lovely.
I've got 2 granddaughters. In the meantime, got divorced for reasons known to me and him. And as a result of my son's accident, I realized that there were too many children in our village that we lived in that were having accidents. And I wanted to canvass the local council to drop the speed limit throughout our village. And I think our village, after my campaigning, becoming a district councillor, was one of the first villages to actually have the speed limit dropped down to 20 in the country.
Okay.
As a result of that, I realized I joined the wrong council. I should have joined the county council, not the local council.
The local,
And the political party, Conservatives, asked me to be a parliamentary candidate for Newcastle East and Wallsend. I said yes, ran the campaign, came 3rd out of 9 people, first Black woman to stand as the parliamentary candidate in Newcastle. Had a fantastic time. They wanted to put me on the A list. They wanted to put me in St. Albans. That would have been my seat. But they were putting me on the A list as a result of my skin color and not as a result of the merit.
Okay.
Now, I'm a Leo. You can tell by my hair. And
really?
I wasn't having it. I wasn't having it. I just left and said, okay, if you're not putting me there on my merit and you're just putting me there as a token, that's not going to happen. In the meantime, my marriage collapsed, my businesses collapsed. I went to Germany, couldn't say anything but ja or nein. In the end, I learned German, taught English to German students, became the project director for a genocide campaign, took the campaign to the UN. It was presented to Ban Ki-moon by Janez Janša, president of Slovenia. When that happened, finished, my son called me and said, guess what, we're pregnant. I don't want my son to grow up without knowing you. You have to come back to the UK.
Come back home.
Came back to the UK, didn't want to go into law because I was just bored with it. But it's what I could do, so I had to. And I became a locum. So a locum means that an agent, if a solicitor or anybody's off sick, I'm the person that goes in, troubleshoots, because the files have to keep running. So therefore, I'm in the background. I'm the person that's running the files while somebody's having a nervous breakdown or whatever, and then I move on. So I used to go around all over the country working as a locum. In going all over the country, I realized that the properties that I was purchasing were not for our community. Our community was not spending the money the way some other communities do it. And in terms of that, you know, met Pauline, we had a chat about this, we're not happy, what can we do, etc., etc. And here is the birth of HTD. So that's me. I love fun, I love dancing, I love singing. Yeah, I love
my
life.
question, of course, but I've got a, I mean, your life sounds fascinating and what you've done. Obviously, going out to Germany, you know, on your own and kind of, I suppose,
I wasn't on my own, Lorraine.
How was that? How was that? I mean, in terms of being in Germany and so on and learning that.
She moved on swiftly.
It's more the language that I'm interested in.
So I think that that goes to show people that your heart has always been about supporting others in your field, and for you to then take it to the next level, as in you were still bored of being the solicitor per se. Now you're looking at HTD as in something that is developing because there is a need in the community. And you reference that by stating that while you're doing that, it's not about growing affluent and rich, it's about supporting the community. And I feel that in how you speak to us and let us know.
It's about empowerment. It's about empowerment. The thing is, my parents, and, you know, I have to give all credence to my father and my mother. My father was illiterate. He couldn't read. My mother was hardworking. I taught my father to read, and I can remember he used to sit with my Jack and Jill books and get me to read, and I didn't realize he was learning from me. And my parents were in Willesden. They were the people that people would come to for the invitation letters to come to the UK. So I've been brought up with helping people. My parents, my parents' doors were always open, always. Anybody walking past, they know that they could come into my mother's kitchen and get something to eat. We were brought up by white nannies. We were brought up in Kingsbury, my parents, and used to come down to Willesden at the weekend. That was the fun times. And then going up to Kingsbury with our nanny was the serious times. So I've had the best of both worlds, and I can only thank my parents for that. My uncle had a barber shop in Harlesden next to Mr. Patty. So, you know, our family is community-based. It's always been community-based, and that's never left me. And in terms of that, my children, the work that they do, I think they've got that from me, community-based as well. And that's just me, Lorraine.
Keeping that legacy going.
Now, you know what? Now that we're understanding of what you do and how you help the community, are you able to give us your contact number, or just?
You mean you haven't put that up already, Huw? You haven't put that up already?
HTD Consults Limited.com.
No, I got that. I got that. I'm asking about the telephone number because I didn't want to give it out.
0208 187 4188. And the website is htdconsultsuk.com.
Yeah. Okay.
htdconsultsuk.com. Yeah. And
Not
in
limited.
Saying that, no, htdconsultsuk.com. And in saying that, even though we're Consults UK, don't forget people have property abroad. That's also part of the estate planning.
Okay, now that's a very big question, because you see, for those people who are here right now, one of the things that I've always maintained is that we have a lot of our elders who have property. For instance, I can think of one person who's got a big property in Stoke Newington. She is forever getting calls from our cousins if she wants to sell the property. She wants to keep it for her extended family. She has a number of grandchildren and so on. But, we don't have, so I am going to be calling her to pass her on your details, and I'm going to walk her to your door if I have to do that, because if she passes away, you already know what the issues are. So
Scramble.
it's about making sure
Yeah.
things are put in place. And also we have to also understand that as a community, we don't deal with this situation very well. And when we have to sit down and discuss, we more or less we run away from the responsibility because it is so hard to actually deal with. So we have to find a way, as Black Business Recommendation, to actually bring people together to sit down and talk about this so that they can move forward, because it's about giving them the support and
exactly.
To energize them to actually say, okay, then I'm going to go and do it. Because a lot of people will watch, and then a little while later they won't go through the process, and we need to find ways in which we can help people to actually go through that process. And we need to support the children of our elders, to help them to help their parents to see the importance of what you do. Because without that, there's a lot of places that will just see Black people disappear from that environment, because the houses where they live are just going to be taken over. Yeah, I'm looking at places in Stoke Newington, I'm looking at places in Dalston, where a lot of Black
criminal.
people just disappeared.
It's criminal. It really is criminal. Sometimes when you think the legacy could have been passed down, and could have been passed down in a correct way, in the correct manner, with instructions. If you have a look, I have to give, and I keep saying this, the Queen and Prince Philip. When Prince Philip passed, was there any fuss? Yeah. He passed and everybody knew what to do.
Yeah.
When the Queen passes, everybody knows what to do.
Yeah. All in place already.
No night. Listen, Harry can fix up as much as he wants. Yeah. Everybody knows what to do, where their place is, everything. And the one other thing that I have to say this evening is thank you for having me. But there is one thing that has actually bothered me the whole evening.
Come and tell me.
On the ticker tape line.
Yes.
Where you've got independent. It's incorrectly spelled.
Where have I got where? Yes, okay, my darling. Thank you. Thank you.
Imagine she's talking about the wills, probate, everything, and then she's on the side.
That goes to show. Right? That goes to show you, right? That Norma has attention to detail. So that is where it is. Okay, so that's. I'm hoping I've done that correctly now. I'm telling you, otherwise I'm going to get told off.
She's happy now.
No, but what it does.
We need to correct that.
No, that's correct.
Yeah,
so what it goes to show everybody is.
So it should be HTD Consults UK is an independent estate planning consultancy. Yeah, that offers guidance and support throughout England and Wales.
I wrote that quickly.
No excuse.
I'm going to take it away now. I will do better.
We will make sure.
I am working in the background as well as doing interviewing, as well as doing lighting.
He ain't through with us yet. He ain't through with us yet.
As well as doing social media. So
Please accept our apologies.
Apology accepted.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Norma, it is wonderful to speak to you.
And to you.
If you have anything, publicity stuff that you want to put onto the group, I think it's important for us to push the message forward, yeah, so that we can actually make sure that many people come and contact you.
Yeah.
So please send it over to me. I will put it up ASAP, yeah, and do it on a regular so that people can actually see and get familiar with the business that you run.
And also, everyone, if you want to get in contact with Norma, the details are there, and just go to www.htdconsultsuk.com. That's the website. All the information is there for you to see what they do, and we will share any other details, telephone numbers, contacts, and remember, you also get 30 minutes free consultation. Okay.
So before you go for that 30-minute free consultation, write up what it is that you have that you want to discuss.
No,
You don't waste time.
Listen.
No, not even that. So write up so that you've got an idea as to what things.
Just an idea that we will ask the questions, and we ask the questions in such a way we get the information from you. So 30 minutes is sufficient. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't worry. We are approachable. We don't bite. We're available 24/7 because this is such an important issue for our community. We don't limit our time to 9 to 5. So we work weekends. A client was texting me at 12 o'clock midnight. Norma, I don't know if you're still up. And I say, yeah, of course I'm up. Yeah. You just text me.
You still must leave. Very politely.
So you've had some really, really, really great information here, guys. We do all have to think about it. We can't just keep leaving it. We can't ignore it.
We can't put it under the table and say, we'll deal with it another day. As Norma said, if you're here now, you need to deal with it now. So please do so. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Love always. You take care. We'll speak soon. All right.
Take care. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.